Welcome. Today we're going to talk about tutorial hell. Does it even exist? What is it? And how do we get past it? So before we get started, let's talk about what tutorial hell actually is. And because I know we've all pretty much experienced it, somewhat of it, right? So we'll hear, or you'll hear all over the internet, all over YouTube, you'll see the videos on what tutorial hell is and how to escape it, right? How do you escape tutorial hell? And the typical advice is just make games. You just have to make games because you just have to. The only way to escape tutorial hell is to make games. Yeah, that's true. Sort of. It's kind of true. I mean, yeah, basic concept is. But there's more to it than that. It's not just about making games. I mean, that's easier said than done. If it's that simple, then just make games. Go for it. Stop watching the video. Go make games. Do it. Why are you even watching this? Why do you watch any YouTube video if you can just go make games, right? Just go do it. Because it's not that simple. You can't just go make games. There's 1,000 steps to it. It's just not that simple. So giving someone the advice to escape tutorial hell is just to go make games it's just bad advice. It's not going to help you. So what is tutorial hell? Well, it's a mindset. It really is. It's a mindset. I keep watching tutorials because I can make games watching tutorials. I can follow along and I can do everything they say to do and I can make the game completely. But then when I go to make my own game, I get stuck. I don't know what to do. So I go back to tutorials and I watch them again and I follow along and I make the games. And then I try to make another thing or my own game and I get stuck again. Or you might not even get to that point. Another version of tutorial hell is you watch a tutorial and you think, I didn't really learn anything. What did I learn? And then you watch another one and I still don't really understand. And you watch another one and I still don't understand. And I watch another one and I still don't understand. And now I've watched like 10 tutorials and I go to make a game and I don't know how to do anything. That's tutorial hell. The reason I don't like calling it tutorial hell, or even if we stick with that name, tutorial hell, I don't like the idea that it's something that's not your fault. It's something that people are putting blame on the tutorial, and it's not the tutorial's fault at all. Yes, there's bad tutorials out there, but those don't cause you to get into a rut. Those don't cause you to keep watching tutorials. The only way to get out of tutorial hell is up to you. It's up to you to just stop. You just really have to do it. I know that sounds just as basic as just make games, but it doesn't matter about making games at all. Really, it doesn't. You have to stop watching tutorials. That's what's more important. Because you can try to make games all you want, but that doesn't mean you're going to be successful. That doesn't mean you're going to stop referencing tutorials. And you should always go back to tutorials. You should always do it. Go back to tutorials. It's what they're there for. But the way to get out of tutorial hell is to stop watching them. It's that simple. So let's take another step back again and let's talk about why we actually get stuck in tutorial hell, right? Why are you stuck right now? If you're watching this, I assume you're probably stuck in tutorial hell or have been. And it really is a mindset. I'm afraid to fail. I watched these videos and I followed along and I thought I was learning and I completed the games. Even if I published them, I followed along and I completed them and I played it and I let other people play it even. But then when I went to go make my own version of it, even copying it, even saying, hey, I'm going to recreate this, I didn't know how to do it, right? I'm sure you've run into that. You might say, I don't know how to even create the project. If it's Unity, do I use URP or HDRP? Because I use Unity, so I'm going to use a lot of Unity references. What do I import assets, right? Why are all my assets pink? I imported assets. Why are they pink? Because that's a big URP problem. If you know, you know. You run into all these things that maybe they didn't run into in the tutorial, or maybe they glossed over something, right? Maybe they glossed over a lot of key features that you didn't really understand why they did it. And that's okay. You shouldn't try to understand. You shouldn't try to understand everything that's in a tutorial. That's not what tutorials are there for. They're there for to teach you things, but you shouldn't expect to learn everything that's inside that tutorial. So you're stuck. You're at a point in your game dev career, and it's one that people hit really early on, right? Super early. It's something that everyone runs into. Everyone. And not even just for game dev, for pretty much anything. Anything that you get to a point, you kind of plateau, right? You plateau, and you have to push through. You do. And the only way to push through for game dev is you stop watching tutorials, and like the bad advice, you build projects. But it's more than just you have to build games. It is more than that, right? So the first step is picking a game that you can make, a short game, a small game, a game you can make in a week, maybe a month, right? Small game. But you don't cut tutorials out completely. You don't. You say, I'm going to make a game. Okay, let's create the project. How do I even create the project? I'm not very sure. So you have options. You have two options, really. Well, three, I guess. Three options now with AI. You can do Google, search engine. You can search, how do I create a project in Unity? Say, I'm going to use Unity as an example. How do I create a project in Unity? Or you can go back to the tutorial and reference how they got to it. Don't follow to a T, just reference it, get an idea of how it works. Or you can ask AI, how do I create a project in Unity? Three options now. You can do any of them, right? And try to actually understand what to do. It's like when I cook, right? I like to look up recipes when I'm cooking, but I don't like to follow recipes to a T. I like to say, I like YouTube videos, right? And I like to watch the process. I like to see how they sear the meat, how they seasoned everything, how they made the marinade, what steps they put things in, right? I like to get an understanding. And then I kind of try to understand how they do it. And then I go and cook it myself. But I don't follow the recipe. I don't write down if it's teaspoons or tablespoons. I get an idea. I don't write down how long, how high the temperature is. I just try to understand the process. And that is far more important than memorizing anything. The problem with people with tutorials is that they try to memorize everything. They try to memorize what button to click, what box to check, what's the syntax for the code I need to write, what's every single line of code. That's a big not to go on too much of a rant, but when it comes to say coding, the coding part of tutorial hell, which a lot of people I think really get stuck on, is the coding aspect. Is I don't know how to code. I've tried watching coding videos where they think some people think they have to learn every little detail of programming. I'd say you're doing C++, they have to know what an int is, what an int32 is, what a variable is, what a boolean is, what enum, everything. Or if it's C sharp, they have to know every little syntax piece, but you don't. You don't have to learn anything beforehand, right? You can learn as you go, especially with game dev. Especially with game dev. You can learn as you go. But see, people get stuck with they need to learn everything, so they're watching, oh, I can just watch C++ course videos, or I can watch C sharp course videos, right? Or I can watch Python videos or other things. And then they get stuck with, okay, but how do I apply this to Unity or Unreal Engine? Or how do I take what I learned, what I think I learned, and apply it to game dev? Instead of trying to memorize all the syntax of coding, say, for example, for those coding tutorials, you just understand the process. You understand that, hey, I need some variables, right? Oh, I need to make some classes. Oh, in order for me to call a function, I need to actually write the function, right? Okay, so maybe this area of code can be broken down into functions, right? Oh, when I click a button in the UI, what am I actually doing? What is the button doing? Oh, I'm when I click the button, I'm calling a function and saying, hey, do this function, right? Do this function. And the function is saying, do these steps. If this is the condition, do these steps, right? Understanding the process is by far more important than understanding the syntax, understanding the minute details, the little details, right? Why I think this or why I know this is because it's the same concept when it comes to just strictly software development. I'm a software developer, a software engineer, and once you learn one language, once you get proficient at one language, you can take that knowledge and apply it to multiple other languages. And they're all pretty much the same, generally, same concept, especially if they're object oriented. They're all pretty much the same. There's just minor tweaks, dials here, switches there, minor tweaks that you have to make to get them to work. As long as you understand the process. Now, if I was to go into programming and just memorize line after line after line after line, if this happens, write this line. If this happens, write this line. But I didn't actually understand the process, I wouldn't be able to translate that to other languages as easily because I don't understand what's actually going on. So the same thing applies with game dev. When you're following tutorials, instead of trying to memorize and follow along every single little detail that they are doing, try to understand the process. Try to understand what they're doing and why they are doing it. Don't try to understand why they click that button or what that button specifically does or what that long line of code you just saw they wrote. Try to understand what this function in general is doing. This function is opening a door, right? Say, for example, or when they click the button, this function is spawning an object, right? Something like that. Or it is applying damage, right? It's taking points away from the health. That's the kind of stuff that you need to understand the process and get out of tutorial hell. Not memorization, understanding the process is more important. So the best way to do that is by making games. It is by making games, but it's not simply by making games, right? Is it a small game? Is it a large game? What should you do inside the game? Okay, so let's get back to the example that I was saying of, okay, so say, let's just do a basic blueprint template of, let's make a game. In theory, talking about it, let's design a game right now, right? So I want to make a project. So, okay, we're going to use Unity. It's going to be URP. I don't know how. I don't know how to make a URP project. So what should I do? Okay, I'm going to go back to the tutorial because I remember this tutorial. We did a URP project. So let's see how they did it. Okay, that's how they did it. Cool. Make the game project. Awesome. Okay, Windows open, engines. I see my scene view. I see my game view. Now what do I do? Okay, well, first thing I want to do, I need a character. I want to make a character, right? I need a player. I need to do something in the game. So what should I do? I don't know how to make a player run. I don't know how animations work. I don't know health bars. So what do I do? Well, I saw they use this asset, so I'm going to use this too. Okay, cool. We can use that, or we can use a pill. We can use the capsule that's built in. So let's use the capsule. It's simpler, right? Then we can add animations later. So let's use the capsule because we want to simplify everything down. The simpler, the simple, you can make a simple version, you can make a complex version, but you should always try to do a simple version first. Gray boxing, it's sometimes called, just simple versions, basic shapes. So let's use the capsule. Okay. Well, I don't know how to make it move. I never say you never wrote a single line of code. So you have two options here. You can use an import an asset, a character controller, or you can write your own lines of code. Okay, well, I want to write my own. Let's just say I want to write my own. Okay, so I remember in this tutorial, they wrote their own lines of code. But before we do that, let's try to get an understanding of what we want to do. Because maybe I don't want to reference that tutorial. Maybe I want to try to figure it out on my own. Okay, so it's a 3D project. So since it's 3D, it's X, Y, Z, right? So I need, let's say I don't remember Unity off the top of my head. I think Y is up and down, but let's just say Z is up and down just for the fun of it. Okay, so or we can say Y is up and down, and Z and X are on the bottom plane. So Z is up and down, or Y is up and down, and Y is vertical, and X and Z are horizontal plane. Okay, so I need my character to be able to move in the horizontal plane. We're not going to worry about jumping, so we don't need to worry about Y. We just need horizontal plane. back and forth, X and Z, right? That's all we need. Okay, so we need a vector 3. Let's do vector 3, right? Since we're doing 3D, we should do vector 3. I don't know how, so I can Google it. You can Google it, right? Or I can ask ChatGPT, or I can do a reference a tutorial. And at this point, you might be thinking, but I'm still in tutorial hell. I'm still having to reference things. Yes, you are. And you're always going to have to reference things. I'm a software engineer. Not saying like, oh, I'm something special, but this is what I do every day. I work in code every single day as a career for 9 hours a day. I work in code. And I'm not the most advanced software. I'm not a senior developer by far. I haven't been in this for 30 years, right? I've been in this for a handful of years. The most advanced developers still have to look things up. You can't know everything off the top of your head. It's just not possible. They have to look up syntax. They have to look up how frameworks work. They have to look up how libraries are connected, how APIs work, how to connect the back end to the front end. They have to. They might have a general understanding of how the overall system works, how the buses work, how the transfer of messages works, how the overall pipelines work. They might have an understanding, but when it comes to the minor details, building this out, they have to look it up. It's just natural. It's something that has to be done. And I think that's a mindset that a lot of people don't understand until you're actually in there working on it. It's a weird thing to think that even professional game developers, the biggest ones in the world, the biggest ones, they have to look things up. There's no one on this planet is making games from scratch from zero to completion by not looking anything up. They are all looking it up. I don't care who it is. You have to look things up. So get it out of your mind that you can't look things up. So back to the game, we're going to do a character, right? We made your character. So now we need some core mechanics, say. Um, they need an attack, there's an enemy, so we speed up, fast forward, same process, basic versions of it. We need an enemy, boom, import the enemy or create it. They need a move, okay, we need navigation, okay, we'll look it up. If you don't know how to do it, you look it up, boom, everything's there. Now we need to hit them, they need to hit us, we add those, look those things up, maybe a UI, I saw a tutorial do it, so let's take that, implement it, tweak it to our code, because you're probably going to start having to tweak things left and right, here and there, because you're not doing everything identical, and since you're not doing everything identical, it's not always going to work the same. The concept, the overall end result will be the same, but that's the beauty of coding. You can write the same thing, the same functionality 100 different ways, and it's still going to work. And in the end, the player doesn't care how it works as long as it works. So you can write a terrible game, you can make a fully functional, fun game, but write the code horribly wrong, and it will still be fine because the player doesn't care. When I was doing software development, one of my final projects I was teaching myself for my portfolio to get hired was I built a social media website all by myself. I built the front end, I built out the server, and I built the back end database, right? And I built it all, and it was ugly. Looking back now, it was really bad. It's so bad. I didn't build out functions. I didn't separate functions. It was just all mashed together. Too many if statements. It was terrible, but it worked, and it got me a job. I could make an account. You can log in via email or via Google OAuth. You could create a profile. You could edit your profile. You can make posts. You could add friends. You could like posts. You could comment. You could delete people. You could search. Add search and everything. It was a basic version of Facebook, like old school Facebook, basic version. But it was something I wanted it like that because it was designed to get a job, for me to get a job, help me. I built it all by myself. And it was to show that I could build a full stack website, right? Social media site. I could do front end and back end. But it was ugly. Internally, it was really bad. But I didn't care. And I know the developers that interviewed me, when they looked at it, they didn't care either. They liked that I could build to completion. I could follow along, or I could build out a project that was fully functional, that worked, even if it was ugly, because I was new to this. And I was just going to keep learning, and I would get better and better and better. So when you're doing this and you're stuck in tutorial hell, just remember that you're always going to be learning. You're always going to have to reference things. Even if it's ugly, it's okay. It doesn't matter. Even if it's mashed together, banded together, stapled together, it doesn't matter. As long as in the end, it works. The player, that's all they care about, if it works. So we built out the main functions, and now we need to build out the end. It needs a win scenario, right? Same concept. I need a win scenario, so what do? Okay, I look it up. Either I know how to do it, or I have to look it up. Those are your only options. And it's always going to be like that. You have a large game. This is how it works. You have a large game, and you break it into sections. Each section are functionality and characters. That's all it is. Functionality, functionality, functionality. And then in there you throw in, environment and aesthetics and color theory and stuff, things that matter, but you don't have to worry about it right now if you're in tutorial hell, because most people don't get stuck in tutorial hell because of the environment and aesthetics, right? That's just not the same. Typically it's mechanics. So, but that's basically what it is. You have a large game and then you break it into sections, right? You don't have to know every section, but you break it into character. Okay, then you can break your character into smaller sections. Get him to move, give him health, give him stats, give him attack. Can he take damage? But then you piece it all together and it's a fully functional character, right? It seems complex from outwards, but when you break it up, it's simple. And when you break it up, it's easier for you to stay out of tutorial hell. It's easier for you to not fall into the trap of saying, oh, I don't know how to do this, so I just need to go back to watching tutorials and I'll get back to this game eventually. Or I don't know how to do this, so maybe I should switch games. When you break things up, that's when you can start moving along quicker. And I think that's not talked about enough. It's not just about making games. It's about how we make games. It's, do we reference tutorials? Do we reference the internet? Or do we know how to do it? Okay. And then can we break up it into smaller functions? Can we break it up into smaller mechanics, right? Can we? Yes, everything can be broken up. Another tactic I like to use personally is I like to have daily goals, right? I like to achieve something every day. That's not always possible. I've run into plenty of times where I'm building something out and I'm testing and it's just not working and not working and not working. And it's just late and I'm exhausted. I'm up till 2 in the morning and I just need to go to bed. And that happens and that's okay. But typically, like the next day or so, I can build it out. But on good days, normal days, I like to set out normal goals, small goals that I can complete, like getting the character to move. That's a great goal for today. I have a few hours, let's get him to move. Okay. Then tomorrow, I want to give him health. Cool, he's got health. Maybe I could squeeze in an attack too. Next day, okay, well, when he has health and attack and he can move, let's start building an enemy out so they can interact with each other. And then you build the enemy out the same way. And each one of those steps, you can reference tutorials. You can reference the internet. And I kind of sound like a broken record, like I'm repeating myself over and over, but I think it just needs to be understood that tutorial hell is real. You can get stuck in it, but it's not because of the tutorial. It's because of you. And I know that's hard to accept, but it's because of a mindset. And it's basically because you are afraid to fail. You're afraid to, when you open up a new project and you hit your roadblock and you don't know what to do, you feel like a failure. You feel like, I just spent hours watching tutorials and I still can't do the basics. But as long as you stick with your projects, you keep building them out, and you do project after project after project to completion, 5 projects down the line, 1 year, say, down the line, maybe, you're going to look back and think, why was I ever stuck in tutorial hell? Like, all I had to do was keep pushing forward, keep learning, and I broke through every time. And once you're out of tutorial hell, you'll never go back. You won't. You won't ever go back. I promise you. Because you don't need to, because you learned the process. So for those of you that I've heard people say they've been stuck in tutorial hell for years, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, but it really is, it's up to you. You are the reason you're in tutorial hell, and you are the only way you can get out of tutorial hell. You just have to you have to not be afraid to fail. It's pretty much that. Don't be afraid to fail. When you fail, that's when you start learning. You get stuck all the time. You will get stuck, okay? If we go back to the software world, I mean, we have a process, right? The basic process is you grab a story, which is a task, you work on it. When you complete it, you put it up for review for the team to look at it and say, is everything right? Is it correct? They'll test it. It'll go off the test. They'll say, hey, you missed a few things here. You missed a few things here, there. I can guarantee you I've never seen a story put up into review that didn't have some errors in it. Some mistakes, some commenting left in there, or some bug left in there, or some functionality left in there that wasn't supposed to be. Doesn't matter if it's a brand new developer or the most senior developer. Everyone makes mistakes. It's just part of it. You cannot develop anything, a video game or software. You can't do it without making mistakes. So the sooner you realize that you're going to make mistakes, the sooner you can get out of tutorial hell. It's just that simple. It really is. So one last thing I think I want to say about this topic is I think some people feel if they're not constantly learning new subjects, new materials, new mechanics, that they're falling behind. Like they need to know the newest trend of everything, the how to use Lumen on Unreal, or how to do the best optimization for Unity, or what's the coolest thing that AI is doing inside internally, or what's this type of navigation, this new navigation system, right? Like Unity has dots maybe. But you don't need to know those things unless you're actually going to use them. You don't need to know the hottest trend, the hottest tactic, the hottest functionality, unless you're actually going to use them in game. And the only time you need to learn that, if you're going to use it, is when you're ready to use it. You're going to forget most of it. So if you feel like you're building basic games and you're only doing basic things, and you're thinking, I'm not learning anything advanced. Well, first of all, most of video games is smoke and mirrors. Like 90% of it's smoke and mirrors. That character that came around the corner, he was just standing there doing nothing. You walked through a trigger or something, a box, that told him to start moving. He wasn't doing anything, right? That AI that looks like they're flanking you, that seems smart in game, it's not. They have a few tactics here and there, and that's it. They don't know what they're doing. I mean, it's that simple. That fog that's out in the distance that looks like there's a castle and mountains over there, there's nothing. It's a billboard. It's a flat screen. It's a piece of paper. It's nothing. It's nothing fancy. All video games is smoke and mirrors, right? But it's made to look like it's extremely advanced. And I think that's very deceiving when it comes to if you're just a player and you're going into game dev and you're not used to that, not really thinking of it. It looks amazing. They throw all these effects into it. Like say an attack. I'm kind of going on a little tangent, but we'll keep going with it. Say an attack, right? Any big game, Elden Ring, I haven't played that, but like any big game that has attacks, major attacks, and you have effects come out of it, like fire blast and shakes and particles and hit markers, and you're getting pushed back, and it seems really advanced, right? But it's not actually that advanced. It's not. It's a hitbox. That's all it is. Did their weapon come in contact with your hitbox, right? Did it come in contact with, did their collider come in contact with your collider? If yes, do all these things. Spawn these particles, spawn this effect, shake the camera, push the player back, add a force, decrease health. It's just simple things. It seems complex, but then you break it down into systems, into simple systems, right? And then if it didn't hit, don't do anything. It's that simple. Keep going, right? And I think that's something that not everyone really thinks about, especially people new into game dev. They don't really think about how everything is smoke and mirrors and everything is just minimal, tiny little systems pieced together to make it look like a complex system. So the point is, when you're doing game development, when you're learning games and you get stuck in tutorial hell because you're looking to do these complex systems, making these complex games, you really have to start just breaking things down into minor things, into minor features. Scope your game down into something really small, really small. And then look at what you got inside the game and break it into small features. Like I said, the character, and then the character can be broken down into small features, right? Small mechanics. Character can be broken down into movement, into health, into jumping, into sliding, into attack, into stats, into endless amount of mechanics. And then you piece it together to make a full, complete character. And then you rinse and repeat with the enemy. Movement, navigation, attack, effects, blah, 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 blah. Keep going, right? Same thing out there. Environment, right? Environment. There's Affects you as you walk by. Triggers, right? You walked by that tree over there and it fell down. What made the tree fall down? You walked through an invisible box, most likely something. You walked through a trigger, and the trigger said, when the player with has a tag walks through this, make that tree fall down. That's all it is. And not even that, make the tree fall down. It's give it rotation, probably. Just make it turn 90 degrees, rotate 90 degrees on its axis, right? And it has a collision box. And if that collision box hits you, apply damage. That's all it is. It's that simple. Now, there's more complex systems than that, but that's the basics of it. That's all of game dev is. It's all these simple systems pieced together to make it seem complex. So when you're going through tutorials, I know this doesn't seem like it, but when you're going through tutorials, just keep that in mind, that these complex systems can be broken down into something simple, and you just have to take the time to break them down into simple systems. So when you get stuck, if you think you're overwhelmed, if you think you can't do it, just remember, how can I break it down into something simple? And how can I reference this? First thing you should try to do is try to think about how you should do this. Can I just play, not the details, not how do I need to code this? Just think about, okay, well, I want to get the player to move. So what do I need? I need to create a script. Okay, so a character controller script. Cool. Let's do that. Create a script. Okay, so now what goes in the script? Oh, I'm not sure what really goes in the script. So let's reference that. Boom. Okay. Well, the character keeps falling through the floor. Why does it keep falling through the floor? It has no collision box, so I need to add a component, a collision, a 3D collider onto it. Okay, cool. Well, now I'm walking and I'm getting stuck by this block. Well, why? The collision box is too tall, right? It's too tall. It's bumping into things. So you can either look things up or you can know how to do it. It's that simple. Don't get scared if you get stuck. That is the major killer of progress and why you get stuck in tutorial hell, because you hit a roadblock and then you don't know what to do. So then you give up and you start something new. And you find the tutorial and you're looking for that solution. You're looking to say, hey, well, maybe if I watch one more tutorial, it'll click. It'll snap. It'll be there. I will just understand it. I'll have an epiphany. A light bulb will turn on, right? But it's not going to work like that. It's not. The only thing that needs to click is I need to solve problems. That's it. I need to solve problems. There is no magic solution to get out tutorial hell besides just making games and solving problems. That's all it is. When you're ready to stop relying on someone else giving you an answer and you looking up answers yourself, then you will be out of tutorial hell. And that's all it is. So if you are stuck in tutorial hell, give this a shot. Try to stop watching tutorials to rely on every little answer and try building out small projects. And not only that, break those projects down into small features. And then when you need to, look up how to do those features and piece them together. And if you still need help, reach out to me. Reach out and just ask questions. There's solutions out there, right? We are all here. We can do this together. And I know that you can escape it. It's not something that's hard to escape. You just have to put a little effort into it. I'll see you next time.